The trade relationship between the U.S., which is unilateral, has proved to be beneficial.
Last year, in 2011, we had $48 million of AGOA benefits. And this year, 2012, we have about $135 million of AGOA benefits.
Know that is going to be renewed, but obviously all the stuff has to be decided by the Congress. But they came with an open mind, and we really do appreciate that, to listen to our concern, to listen to us, and they're going to take our position. We have already a good heads up as far as, it's going to be extended.
In somewhat heralding the renaissance of the continent, the theme Africa Rising has been continuously reported by the Western world in recent years. A decade ago, the continent was labeled with pessimistic views. There was merely Afro-pessimism sentiment attached with Africa, and the reference at the darkest continent has for long remained synonymous with it. Currently, development endeavors coupled with remarkable economic growth lifted up Africa's position in the global economic arena. In this regard, a significant role has been played by AGOA, owing to its instrumentality in the effort to transform trade and economic relationships of the Sub-Saharan Africa with the United States. The trade relationships through AGOA has grown over 250% from $28.2 billion USD in 2011 to $72.3 in 2012.
In terms of trade, we have seen that trade grow very fast, to a point that we now have a thriving business between US and Africa. Exports, particularly in textile industry, where a number of jobs have been created, over 300,000. But we have also seen US import products from Africa, products that range from oil to food, agricultural products, and of course, as I said, textile itself. And Africa has also been importing equipments such as aeroplanes. Ethiopia is one of the major countries trading with the US. Ethiopia is one of the countries, the first to buy the Dream airline.
In line with the original vision of AGOA, enhancing economies of the Sub-Saharan Africa, though the progress so far is encouraging, nevertheless the two entities are not satisfied yet and are looking forward to tangible steps to address challenges and move AGOA beyond its expiry time 2015.
African manufacturers, if they don't have enough technology, enough finance to manufacture and supply, this is one constraint. The other constraint, if you take for example food and others, there can be cultural barrier, sanitary and photosanitary barriers, quality, standard, different issues. The American government and the African governments can sign this AGOA arrangement because it's a big opportunity to have market access. But this market access alone doesn't allow you to do everything. They cannot force the American buyer to buy from Africa. The American buyer should be convinced so that our quality, our price, our sanitation, our packing, everything should fulfill the need and requirement of the buyer. This should be fulfilled by injecting some financial conditions and may allow so many items to be products to be manufactured in Ethiopia and in other parts of Africa. Then African exporters can export quite high quality product to the right quantity, the right quality, the right standard, so that they can not send only raw materials, so so that they can export manufactured goods.
Again, when you talk about trade, you can only trade when you can produce goods that the market demands. So the supply side conference is very, very important for trading. If you don't produce, if you don't have, you don't address the supply chain conference, you cannot trade. So I think that this is one of the major elements of why the countries did not benefit from the AGOA. And I think that this is something that needs to be addressed, and that's what we think that it can be addressed by the hubs, through the hubs. It can be identified specifically and then communicated in our response strategy. And then obviously the American can address it through the hub that it will come through the AGOA compact that we're suggesting. So it's very important that once we have this extension, we benefit from that. Because we cannot be here all the time asking for extending of preferences, because it's not going to happen.
AGOA is a very welcome development. The principles behind AGOA was to aid trade, explore trade, and enhance trade capacities between Africa and the US. That on its own is excellent.
Despite all the challenges, Africa has seen positive developments and has recognized the meaningful difference that AGOA brings to business across the Sub-Saharan region.
I think 6 or 8 of the 10 fastest growing economies of the world are in Africa. So I really do think that there has been a lot of things that AGOA, not only AGOA, in fact maybe not even principally AGOA, but AGOA has been part of a larger package of factors that have really helped Africa's economic competitiveness since AGOA was passed. Look, I've been doing work in Africa for 35 years. I finally now feel, in the last 5 years especially, that Africa is really taking its place in the global economic stage.
I'm very glad to be here at this because I was very much involved ever since the inception of AGOA since 2000. And I think it has contributed a lot in the development of Africa.
Last year, in 2011, we had $48 million of AGOA benefits. And this year, 2012, we have about $135 million of AGOA benefits.
Over the last 12 years, AGOA has been able to achieve its objective partially. Exports have significantly grown. There was about a 500% increment in export from Africa to the US over the last 12 years. If you take the case of Ethiopia, for instance, over the last 12 years, average export per year, per annum, has been about 80%. This was huge. But we're not happy with it because AGOA has such huge potential that we're feeling that we're simply scratching the surface. So compared to the potential, we feel we could have done better. And the sentiment that was expressed by many African delegates at this forum is that even though there are significant exports, even though there are new industries that are being created in Africa, if you take the case of Mauritius, Lesotho for instance, they have started up an entirely new industry and have succeeded in exporting textile to the US market. If you take the case of Ethiopia, leather products, shoes, there is significant export. Over the last 2 years alone, we have had about 500% increment in exports of leather products from Ethiopia to the US. But the potential is so huge that all delegates are saying, no, we could do better. Exports should increase significantly, and our products should flood the US market, is what most of the delegates were saying. So overall, they're happy with the progress, but they're also unhappy because they think they should have done by far better.
AGOA has benefited African countries in assisting them become more competitive through availing new market opportunities for their exports, especially of non-traditional and value-added products.
Having my products in the American market have been helping so much to give the creation of employment in my country, especially women, because I'm a woman entrepreneur. So I do use that opportunity and that increase the number of employment in my country and makes use of the materials, natural materials of which we have in my country.
We're very happy and actually we're very thankful for the American to give us this tool to enhance our economy through trade, through our exportation to the U.S. market and so forth. But we also have to question ourselves. I think the first major question is we're really looking for extension right now. But behind the extension, we'll also have to ensure that preferences are not forever. So we have to ensure that we are going to take advantage of these preferences. So that's why I'm saying that it's very important for us among Africans to share our experiences and to say the countries that are benefiting from AGOA, benefited from AGOA for the 12th year, how did it do it? And also, how to help all the countries to prepare a strategy response to addressing AGOA and to ensure that we're benefiting from AGOA. So I think this is also some of the issues that are clearly discussed. We're talking about, the trade hubs, how they can help Africa.
Informed by the lessons of the past, there remains more innovative thinking to maximize the successes gained through AGOA.
We have to have something to do that manufacturing should be focused at Africa, so that even other investors should come as a direct foreign investor or as a joint investor to come and produce. To do this, I believe we have to have a joint working body so that American buyers understand about Africa. The image, the understanding, the concept about Africa is not right. And we want them to know what African products are, what African values are, what African people are. They should know that we are a very caring and loving people. They should know that we have a great value. Therefore, if we work together with the joint body, so that they understand our value, they understand our product, they can come and invest. Otherwise, the American government cannot force the American buyer.
We need to produce big quantities in view to go to the market with big quantities and with scale of production. We can tap more easily into the U.S. market, because Africa is not allowed to export in the U.S. So we need to produce big quantities and go to the market strong, quality and quantity.
Each country should have its own strategy, look at the key constraints, and then try to solve them in a more coordinated fashion. In the case of Ethiopia, what the Ministry of Industry has done is there is a high-level task force that was established to oversee the development of this national strategy and also its implementation.
To capitalize on bilateral relationships of the two entities and the availing opportunities of AGOA, the Sub-Saharan Africa region wants AGOA to go beyond 2015.
Actually, this AGOA forum is very, very important at this juncture, because as you're aware, AGOA is going to expire in September 2015. So it's really a time for all the African countries, all the eligible countries, which is Sub-Saharan Africa, and right now we have 39 countries, to come up here and come up with a strong common position so that we can tell the American what we're expecting out of the AGOA. It's also a serious time to review what's AGOA for, like the 12, 13 years that we have AGOA since 2000. What are the countries that benefited from AGOA and the one that didn't benefit from AGOA, how we can share experiences, how we can make sure that we understand, the root causes of not benefiting from AGOA and how we can address them. So we're very happy to say that the African position is that AGOA should be extended and enhanced for additional 15 years.
I'm confident that AGOA will not expire in 2015. But if it were to expire in 2015, it would be an unfortunate circumstance. However, I think there's a lot of momentum to Africa's economic growth that is not necessarily dependent or related to AGOA. And I don't think it will be the end of the world. I just think it will be an unfortunate setback. But Africa's economic momentum is continuing at pace, with or without AGOA. It'll just happen faster with AGOA.
The message that came out loud and clear is both the U.S. side and Africa. African and AGOA eligible countries strongly believe in AGOA. And the African side has requested that AGOA should be extended for 15 years. As you know, AGOA is set to expire in September 2015. So there is more or less an agreement that there will be an extension, what we call reauthorization of AGOA, for at least 15 years. But this will be done by the U.S. Congress. Even though there is that agreement, there are some additional work that needs to be done.